you have people identify that Christianity is a lie, and they don't want to or can't adopt Judaism as their life altogether for different reasons, but they want different parts of Judaism. So they want to put on tefillin, even though they're not Jewish. They want to keep Shabbat, even though they're not Jewish. They want to do blessings, even though they're not Jewish. And I always tell them, if you want to keep all these things, you have to convert. And if you're not going to convert, don't do it. Why? Because it's not bringing you good like you think it is. That good is meant for specific people. Your good is to serve Hashem as He told you. So a person needs to know that when a Jew does what he's obligated to do, they get rewarded. When a non-Jew does what they're obligated to do, they get rewarded. But when they do what they're not obligated to do, sometimes it could be considered as midat chasidut, they're doing even better. Sometimes it's considered a sin. Why? Because it's wrong for them to do it. There are specific prayers that people can say, and there's no problem people saying it. You could read Tehillim, you could read Psalms. The vast majority of the Siddur, the Jewish prayer book, is Psalms, which both Jews and Gentiles are allowed and should read on a regular basis. But there are unique prayers that are catered for Am Yisrael. And when a Jew reads it, it opens up specific gates in heaven, it connects his neshama, it's a lot of cool stuff. When he doesn't do it, it's a very big problem. When she doesn't do it, it's a very big problem. On the other hand, when a non-Jew reads prayers that he's allowed to pray, he reads Tehillim, he speaks to Hashem out of his own heart, that opens up certain gates and connects him or her to Hashem in a fantastic way. Why? Because they're doing what they should do, what they're obligated to do, what's great to do. On the other hand, when they do things that they're not allowed to do, like saying specific prayers or doing specific mitzvot that are only for the Jews. Not only are they not opening the good gates, but they're instead opening bad gates. Gates that will bring them consequence, punishment, disaster, tragedy, all of the horrible things. Why? Because it's not a mitzvah for them. It's a sin. Yeah, but how come it's a mitzvah for him? Because it's for him. It's just like the horse food is good for the horse, but not for the human. Yeah, but it's food. Yeah, it's food for a horse. Same concept here. And a person needs to understand, if you do what God said, you win. If you do what you think you should do because you feel it, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But when you lose, usually you lose much more than what you gain. And when a person is desiring to do the will of Hashem, then it shouldn't really be such a dilemma to accept the fact that you're not allowed to keep Shabbat, or that you're not allowed to do other things. It shouldn't be a problem. Why? Because if you're really serving Hashem here, then serve Hashem like He wants you to serve Him. I'll tell you a thing that's difficult for people to hear, but this is good for people to know. There is a critical importance that people know where they stand, because there are different organizations that are money-driven, that are popularity-driven, that do all types of things that are against the Torah in order to pacify people, especially people that are ignorant and simply are naive about certain things and believe, and they want to believe. And I don't blame them for believing. And they preach these people, listen, you're Gentiles, but you should have a Siddur. You're Gentiles, but you should keep Shabbat. You're Gentiles, you should keep the Torah to the same way that the Jews do. And all types of things like this. This is against the Torah. This is not for the Torah. This is not going to give any of those people blessings. They're not going to get rewarded for it. They're all going to get punished for it. And I know that they're being taught this by people that call themselves rabbis. I know, but it's not allowed. There is an obligation for the Jew, there's an obligation for the Gentile. If the Gentile is in a process of converting, then yes, fulfill the entire Torah, learn everything, and on the way to conversion, you have to. It's not a mitzvah for you, it's practice, but it's necessary practice. On the other hand, if a person is simply just adopting whatever mitzvot he likes or she likes, and figuring that this is good for me too, you are creating a new religion. And it's a very, very big problem. So a person needs to know that there are certain things that make sense and there are certain things that don't make sense. But as we said before, Hashem doesn't think like us. And this is not a new thing. This is not a new thing. one thing that people think is not such a big deal is they see that there's a lot of Christians and a lot of non-Jews that are wearing tzitzit and talit. And they think, oh, look, they're wearing tzitzit and talit. Now, usually they buy this from non-Jewish people, and these things are made by machines, and they don't really have the real legitimate status of a tzitzit or a talit. But if a Jew sells you a talit, he is violating an halacha. He's not following the Torah. Why? It is forbidden for a Jew to sell a talit to a non-Jew. The Gemara in Masechet Menachot, and it's Psak Halacha in the Shulchan Aruch, that's also in the Yalkut Yosef, and across the board, a Jew is not allowed to sell a non-Jew a talit. Why? Lest he pretend to be a Jew and kill you, or kill somebody else, or pretend to be a Jew and marry somebody. The point is that all of these things, your average person, what? I'm not killing anybody. I just want to serve Hashem. Why can't I buy a talit? Not because you're bad. It's not a personal attack at you. It's a law because the general risk is too great to bear and therefore forbidden. And we cannot change the general law, because of specific cases. If you want to wear a talit, you have to be Jewish. Simple. That's it. We're not asking you to wear a talit. You're the one that wants to wear a talit. So be a Jew. Oh, I'll buy it anyway. Okay, you can buy it anyway, and you're going to get punished for it anyway. No, I'm not going to get punished. Oh, so now you're deciding the law yourself. Why, you're calling the Gemara, the sages of the Gemara liars? You're calling the Shulchan Aruch liars? You're calling the Yalkut Yosef liars? You're calling the Rambam liars? So why do you even follow the Torah then? And that's the most bizarre thing in the world, is that there are people that they decide to adopt laws of the Torah, all types of specific laws that are specific to Am Yisrael, despite the sages saying it's forbidden for them to do, and I just don't understand it. If you're adopting the laws, then why don't you adopt a law that says that you're also not allowed to do these things? Like, why become Jewish if you hate the Jewish people? And this is actually what makes a lot of people turn sometimes into anti-Semitics. So again, if it's really about serving God, focus on what's good for you to do, meaning that is what you're supposed to do, what you're obligated to do. If you can do more because you can become a Jew, then do more. But if you can't, then focus on perfecting what you are supposed to do. I understand that at times it's appealing to have a system, to have a prayer system, to have all types of garments, to have holidays, and I understand it, and I feel for the non-Jews that want these things, that want a holiday, that want the garments, that want the Jewish attire, but simply can't become Jews because they live in the middle of some country that has no Judaism, or they can't afford it, or whatever it is. I understand, but I promise you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not give you a test for no reason. If you do the will of Hashem, like Hashem said, not like you're deciding, he said. But when I say like Hashem said, that means that you're listening to his messengers, not becoming a messenger out of your own mind. If you listen to Hashem, you listen to the holy Jewish sages, there is no doubt in my mind you will win. You will have gates opened for you in this world and the next that you didn't even realize exist. But if you decide to do something else, like a lot of people are doing, which is in essence creating another religion, they left idolatry of Christianity, they haven't adopted Judaism, they're somewhere in the middle, they don't want to be Noahides, and they even make fun of Noahides, and they figured they're going to be like a Noah Jew, or Pikachu, or Saka, like something, Sasa Jew. They're something. They don't even know what they are. They are a Gentile Jew. This is stealing. This is forbidden. This is not good for you. You want to do it? Everybody has a freedom to do whatever they want. But do not say you weren't warned. Because again, if a person is really looking to follow the Torah, they need to realize that we cannot understand a single verse in the Torah if it's not for the Jewish sages. The very same sages that say that it's forbidden to do such and such things by non-Jews, and forbidden to do such and such things by Jews, and it's allowed to do such and such things by non-Jews, and allowed to do such things by Jews, and so on and so forth. Those very same sages, you can't just listen to them whenever you feel like it. And if you're going to learn from the right people and adopt the law as it is. I promise you, if these Pikachu, Gentile Jew, such a Jew, and maybe Jew, and Santa Jew, all these different types of make-believe things that people are making them up, if they had any value, guess what? They would have already been here for the last few thousand years. What do you think? That the sages weren't around righteous Gentiles? There were around many of them. Many of them existed in the world, and some of them converted, and some of them stayed righteous Gentiles. You never saw this in history of people doing this thing that they're doing in this generation, where they've left one bad thing and they created something even worse. So follow Torah, follow as it's supposed to, and I promise you, you'll succeed. When it comes to prayer, the best prayer for the Gentiles, a prayer that comes from their heart when they really delve into what they are appreciating. And quite frankly, there are a lot of Jews, myself included, that need to spend more time praying out of our hearts, as well as what we're obligated to do. We're obligated to do Birkat Hamazon and the prayers and everything else, but we should always spend some more time praying out of our hearts with, when we look at the things that we're benefiting from.